Hey guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that's been on my mind lately, and that is authenticity. It is such an underrated thing. When I'm considering dates or whatever on Bumble or I want to meet real, authentic people. We all have a tendency to put masks on in different areas of our life if we get the sense that, people don't like us. We're always sort of adjusting our own self and behavior if we think that we're not liked. And that's not what we should be doing. We shouldn't be like anyone else. The whole point is to be here, to be my individual self, doing the things that I want to do. That's what makes me special. That's what makes you special. I wish that we celebrated individuality more. Everybody seems to sort of conform, and that's hard to fight back against. I get that because we're trained from the time we're born to just conform to whatever the standards are. It's hard to break free from that. I'm glad I did at some point in my life. I started out life as a indoctrinated Christian, and I backed off that once I was old enough, but also sort of once I was really, really challenged on it. I had a friend who was an atheist and a friend who was an agnostic, and we used to just argue about it all the time. And I'd bring my Bible along and be talking about stuff, and they're like, the Bible's just a book. And I'm like, no, it's the Word of God. And then, as an adult now, I didn't know this at the time, but as an adult now, I know there are something like 45,000 religions on the planet. And of the 45,000, only one of them is Christianity. So, Christians walk around acting like their Bible and everything is the true and perfect Word of God. But even within Christianity, there are something around 41,000, I think, between 40 and 45,000 different denominations of Christianity. So obviously, if they can't agree, 41,000 is a lot. Or whatever it is. I checked the numbers years ago. So I'm roughly okay on my estimates, but anyway. So yeah, I'm not a Christian anymore, and I'm happy about that because I think that shaped who I became in my life. I feel like I hit all of the things to get me out of my sort of lifestyle that was going to lead me into a rut and into a life that I didn't want to live. I kept in my early, once I turned 18, I was 17, 18, and then in the next years over college, I really expanded my awareness on a lot of things. The first thing was having my two friends challenge me on Christianity because it made me step back and say, you know what, I really don't like in my life when I don't have a logical answer for something. I can't just be one of those people to be like, it's true when it's not true. I think that's ridiculous. So I found my way sort of questioning Christianity at this point. And then my friend recommended Stranger in a Strange Land. And that's my favorite book. And that's where I have this tattoo on my arm. It says, "Thou art God." It's from the book. It sounds religious, but it's not. Recommended that. That is such a great book. I'm going to have to read it again now that I've even just talked about it. But that changed my viewpoint on religion and other things in life. And then one of the next things that happened was I was introduced to a comedian named Bill Hicks. And there's a lot of his comedy that I find to be it starts to grate on your nerves after a while. He'll take some jokes too far, but he was the original, making jokes about the government, how, the government essentially is his joke is, two people talking to each other and oh, I think the puppet on the right is, my puppet. And the people on the left are no, I think the puppet on the left is more to my liking. And he's and then you step back and realize there's one guy holding up both puppets. And honestly, I think that's really true about our government. Obviously there are better sides, through that. I don't even really want to get into that discussion, but it was being questioned. It was Stranger in a Strange Land. It was Bill Hicks. And then I guess I mean, I don't know. I feel like over time I have just managed to find the right things at the right time to make me question. I think having an open mind and questioning every single thing that you believe, especially those things that are like deeply held beliefs that you've had for a lifetime. Well, why do you have those? Why do you feel so strongly about Christianity? I mean, if there are whatever 4,500 religions to choose from, did you go through all 4,500 and then select Christianity? No. You're the religion of what you were taught to believe. That's the other thing that Bill Hicks says. He's like, beliefs are a funny thing. I mean, they're just your beliefs. It doesn't make it true. It's just that that's what you believe. That's what you were taught to believe. So like if you were born in Afghanistan, or like you'd be a Muslim. Like that's just how it goes. And you can argue that as much as you want, but that's the fact. And I'm sorry you don't like it, but anyway, there is a vulnerability that comes along with all of that, because when you start to have your worldviews kind of rattled, you don't know what's coming next, and it puts you into unknown territory. It's very uncomfortable for us as humans because we seek like comfort and consistency and patterns and things like that. So you have to really lean into that discomfort. And even with like doing these videos, I have to just lean into the discomfort of being vulnerable, because I truly think the best things in life are found from being vulnerable. And maybe I've just read too much Brene Brown. I don't know. Anyway, I know that's like, I talked about a lot of different things there. I kind of went down a path of religion. I didn't intend to necessarily, but that's what I like about doing these videos where I just talk from start to finish, because I have no idea where my head's going to go. I can have an idea in mind and then like where I start and where I finish. And then I feel like, okay, well, I have to summarize it in whatever I say. Like, here's how I got from point A all the way over here, you know? Like, it makes sense in my brain. Probably not in yours, but anyway. Glad I got to share that with you. I will check you guys next time. Peace out.